Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the JK Cast with Justin and Keely. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good.
You are?
Yeah, for sure.
Why is that?
Another week. Not at home for this week of work, so that's pretty good.
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into
How's your day?
That a little better, a little later.
We're having trouble talking today.
It's late. It's late as always.
Yeah. Well, how was your day?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, I mean, work. I went to work.
Work.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a weekday. I feel like standards for weekdays and standards for weekends are completely different.
Oh, yeah.
I expect a lot more on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But weekday, I understand.
It's a lot easier to be a good Monday than it is to be a good Saturday.
Yeah, because we were just talking about that not too long ago, about how the weekend was over and we were like, oh my God, the weekend's over. And it just felt...
Oh, yeah. Well, because I worked Saturday.
True.
So then...
And I kind of also worked.
I had a one-day weekend.
Yeah.
And honestly, after all the stuff that happened the last couple of weeks, I felt like I really needed a 3-day weekend to get ready to work again.
Yeah, right.
So it was a little painful.
This past week, if you know where we live, we've said it before, we live in the Dallas area. We live in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Texas had I don't want to say like a huge snowstorm.
A huge storm.
A huge winter storm for Texas.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you live somewhere where it gets snow regularly. You're like, oh, you know, we were getting 1 to 3. We got 1 to 3 inches of snow.
The first time.
Both times. That's what it was forecasted. I don't know what we actually got. But it was on a Monday, or was it Sunday?
It was like Sunday night.
Sunday night.
Snowed the first time.
Sunday night to Monday morning it snowed, and then Wednesday. The Wednesday snow was like Tuesday, like afternoon. Maybe it was...
I think it was like Tuesday, and then it also snowed Wednesday.
I don't know. We got a lot of snow.
It snowed 3 times last week, and it was below freezing from Sunday through Thursday.
Which is pretty wild, because like
Insane.
last year, I think we barely got below freezing at all.
Oh, yeah, I don't think we did.
We got to negative temperatures around here.
I haven't remembered us getting to negative temperatures since I was like a kid.
Yeah. The last time it like snowed like this, or like whatever in our area at least, was 2015.
Yeah, our senior year of high school.
Yeah, we were in high school. And I remember getting like 4 or 5 days off of school. Like normally you get like 2 snow days.
That was in 2011. 2015, we got like 1 day off of school.
No.
Yeah, it was like over a weekend. It wasn't for
Are you sure?
I'm sure.
I don't know if I believe
2011, we got 4 days off of school.
I remember that because we got a lot of days off school. Then for like, I think it was until like we graduated, they like extended the day by
15 minutes.
15 minutes.
Yes, after that year, they permanently incorporated it into the school day.
Yeah, so like even like kids after that.
So that they could use that if that ever happened again and they had to cancel school.
That's insane. Just give the kids some time off.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, see, now after the pandemic, kids are going to come back to school and be like, all right, we're extending it by 4 hours. You're here for 12 hours a day for the rest of your life.
You can never leave. It was a huge winter storm by Texas standards, because I've seen a lot of Northerners the last week or so really harping on Texas, saying it's nothing. I mean, yeah, it's nothing if you're from Minnesota. I get that. If you have that kind of storm and you take away, you know, owning clothing that keeps you warm in that temperature.
Yeah.
Houses that are prepared for that have the insulation, backup generators, take away your snow tires, snowshoes.
Take away just like the skill to be even...
any experience in your life.
Exactly.
More than like 20 days every 10 years that are below freezing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think it's going to be all right. Like, no, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah, of course.
It's going to suck.
And on the flip side of that, it's like, you know, you see it all the time. Like up north, like a heat wave goes by and it gets up to like 95. And I'm like,
oh my goodness.
That's nothing. Like in Texas, was it last summer or the summer before? We had 100 consecutive days of 100.
Yeah.
100 or higher temperature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like in Europe, when it got to like 85, 90 and their roads started melting.
Yeah, they said 40 degrees Celsius and like the roads were melting. I'm like...
It's the same way here, where once every 10 years, a crazy freak winter storm happens. So they don't put the money into the infrastructure to winterize everything. It's the same thing in Like in Europe, the temperatures get to a little under 100 Fahrenheit and the roads start melting because it doesn't happen very often.
Right.
You know?
It was the first time in recorded history, I think it was the first time in recorded history, that every county in Texas was below freezing, but also under winter storm watch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like from here to El Paso, like from Dallas to El Paso, it's like a 13-hour drive.
Entire Great Plains.
Oh, yeah.
It was a huge storm.
Yeah.
It really was.
It's a huge storm. It covered all of Texas. Texas is huge. Texas is the biggest country in Europe.
Oh my gosh, do you remember when we were in Berlin on our honeymoon and the bartender was from Australia, right?
Oh, at the hostel?
Yeah, at the hostel.
Oh, yeah.
The bartender was from Australia and he asked us where we were from, and in general I usually say Texas because just saying United States is very large. It's like, yeah, Australia is also large, but you could say different like areas of Australia and I know what you're talking about, you know, like,
well, yeah, I mean,
you know, the big cities,
right?
And I feel like same with Texas, like you go anywhere and you say you're from Texas, people know what you're talking about. They get an image in their head.
I feel like also like if you've ever seen it like on the internet, it's like, oh, someone from Europe tries to like name all the states or like try to put the names.
Oh yeah, they always know what Texas
they get
is.
Texas, California, and New York every time.
Every time. I saw one the other day and it was like, this is definitely Texas.
Yeah, they're like, and then we know what Texas is.
They put Ohio in like 12 different places.
Yeah. Honestly, like, where is Ohio? I don't know where Ohio is.
I'm not sure.
Like, if you get...
I was like, is this Ohio? Have you seen that map?
Yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about. But if you gave me one of those maps, I could get
quite a few, I think.
I could get most of them except for the Northeast.
Oh, yeah, there's so much going on there. I think I could get the Northeast. I don't think I could get the Midwest.
Really?
I don't think so. I've just never gone to the Midwest. I've gone to the Northeast.
You mean like Wyoming, Montana, and all Iowa? Or in Kansas?
Idaho, Iowa.
Oh. Idaho's way far away from Iowa.
I don't know all those weird ones. All the ones where there's a lot of corn. I'm not sure.
Nebraska.
Yeah, where's that?
It's above
north of
Colorado.
Oklahoma. See, I don't know.
Well, I guess it's. I hope I'm right, but yeah, it's north of Oklahoma.
Well, anyways, when we were in this bar, so I said I was from Texas. From Texas, and the guy was like, "Why is it that whenever people from the States say where they're from, they say the state and not the States, and like not the U.S.?" That's pretty much what he's saying. And I was like, because U.S. is really big. Like, Texas is the size of a bunch of European countries put together.
Yeah,
so, like, it's... Saying I'm from Texas is the equivalent of me saying I'm from France.
Yeah, France is the largest country in Europe. Texas is larger than France.
Exactly. So I was like... that was my explanation. I told that to him, and he's like, well, I'm from Australia. And I was like, good for you, bruh. I was like, can I have my drink now?
Like 90% of your country lives in 4 cities.
Right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
And I can name 2 of them.
Yeah.
Sydney, Brisbane.
You're not going to name Perth and Melbourne?
And see, Justin can name the other 2. That's why we're together.
I would have gotten Sydney. What was the other one?
You would have had my back. Brisbane?
Brisbane?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't. I don't think I've ever heard that before, honestly.
I hope it's a real place.
Yeah. I can name an address in Australia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
42
Wallaby.
Wallaby.
What is it?
42 P. Sherman.
Wallaby Waste.
Or is it P. Sherman 42 Wallaby Way? I think P. Sherman's his name. The guy's name.
Well, I really thought we were going to nail this joke.
42 Wallaby Way.
And we didn't get it.
P. Sherman. I think it's his name, yeah.
P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby
Way, Sydney.
Yeah.
Sydney. Yes. We got it.
Screw it. Fuck it. Move on. We just had this huge winter storm roll through Texas. I mean,
oh man.
We were saying places not having their infrastructure ready. Mm-hmm. And what happened in Texas was that millions of people lost power for a long time. And you lose power, you don't have heat. Mm-hmm. And when it's 0 degrees outside, your house gets really cold. It gets down to like 40 degrees, definitely. Even colder sometimes. Because depending on what kind of house you live in. Luckily our power wasn't off for too long.
Yeah. So there's the main power supplier really in Texas is called Encore.
Yeah.
And they serve like 4 million people, I think, about that. We do not get power from Encore. We get from a smaller provider, but they actually did a pretty good job of the rolling blackouts.
Yeah, that was one thing that was upsetting people. Was they're like,
they said they were doing rolling blackouts, but then some people had power the whole time, and some people didn't have power for 80 hours.
Yeah,
straight.
Because they said, ERCOT, whoever.
Yeah, the Electric Readiness Council of Texas.
I don't know. During this whole ordeal, that was like the first time I'd ever heard that acronym.
Same. My friend from work and I kept being like, were they talking about Epcot? And we were like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, that was the first time, but they issued an emergency, which means there had to be rolling blackouts. But on basically like every electricity provider's website, they said, we'll have rolling blackouts. Blackouts will last 15 to 25 minutes or something like that range. If you have a blackout for longer than 2 hours, call the number.
Right. Report it as an outage.
Well, first,
it's not a blackout.
Yeah. And then so many people were having that issue where it would just go off and they wouldn't have power to it, and they would call and they couldn't get to anybody because millions of other people were also calling trying to figure this out.
What they kept doing at my parents' house was they would be without power for like 17 hours or something. Their grid didn't have power. And everybody was reporting it as an outage, right? And then they would turn it back on for like 5 minutes and close the problem. Whatever ticket was open for that grid, they would be like, okay, resolved. And they would close it out. And then 5 minutes later, power's out again.
Yeah.
For another 12 hours.
Yeah. The first night they were doing rolling blackouts, our power went off at like 4 a.m. and then came back at like 4:45 while we were sleeping. I was up because my sleeping schedule is terrible. Well, mostly our dog's sleeping schedule is terrible.
Yeah, they wake you up all the time.
Yeah.
You're a light sleeper.
I am a light sleeper, which isn't a problem because I go back to sleep really quick. I just happen to be up at like 4 to witness the power going out and then coming back on. But then it went off at like 6:30 or something like that. But then it was off for like a while.
It was like 2 hours, I think.
Yeah, it was to the point where like I had already known that like some people were like losing power, and when it wasn't coming back on, I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because during that 2 hours, the temperature got really cold. It got down to like 55 degrees in our house.
Yeah, that's why I woke up. I usually do not wake up that early on a weekend, especially.
Yeah.
But I woke up at like 7 because I was just cold. But yeah, and then we had power pretty consistently until I think it was Wednesday night after it snowed the second time.
Yeah, it might have been Wednesday night.
Wednesday night, we had like 6 rounds of rolling blackouts, which is the 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off.
Yeah, it was actually pretty consistent and pretty predictable, and which was really nice considering, every time it did go off, there was that little thought in the back of my head going, ooh, it's not going to come back on.
It's going to be off forever.
But then we come back on, and then we go off, and it just kept doing that. And I'm perfectly okay with that. And I really wish like it was a little better. I mean, of course, in a perfect world, we would just have power and we could have heat and everybody. Yeah. But like when they were doing rolling blackouts, done
the rolling blackouts for everybody, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Or like an actual rolling, because like when I was looking at what I was looking for on the websites or any information, I was like, when are they going to do it? Like, is there a schedule like this area is going to go off at the top of the hour and come back on at the bottom of the hour, and then go up at the top and do that, and then some others on like schedule B and they're going on the top, going on. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you just have it a little more organized and make everybody have the rolling blackouts, then nobody is in that situation where they just don't have power for days. You know what I mean? Because, power being off for 30 minutes, the house doesn't get very cold by that point. Then it comes back on. You have enough time to, like, cook your dinner or whatever, charge your phone, and it goes off again, you know? And we had some friends come to stay with us because they had lost power since Sunday and hadn't gotten it back. Yeah. So they came and stayed with us for a couple days, and they were here during the rolling blackouts on Wednesday, and we just put a bunch of candles out and played board games. Like, it wasn't a big deal at all. I just don't understand why they couldn't do that everywhere.
And I'm sure there's a
But
ton of reasons and all this, and like we could get into all of it. There are those answers, whether they're good ones or not.
I learned something about demand charges. Have you heard about that?
Like gritty?
No, not gritty.
Okay.
Like when I'm
What happened?
I don't know, I just moved and it pulled the cord and then the table fell and then my drink.
Do you need to clean that up?
No, it's okay. We can go on.
Okay.
So one of my coworkers, when he was younger, used to work for like the Department of Energy, doing like research studies and stuff. So he knows a lot about.
When you said when he was younger, I just assumed like you were talking about his childhood, and then you said he was working for the Department of Energy. I was like, whoa.
No, I work with a lot of older people, so like mostly at retirement age.
Yeah.
So when I say younger, I mean like our age.
Okay.
But yeah, he used to work for the Department of Energy, doing research stuff in college, and so he knows a lot about different things about the power industry, I guess. And so he was telling me that different companies and hospitals, schools, and stuff, they'll pay demand charges. So pretty much their highest rate that they like use for the year, like say like this one business like powers on all of their equipment at once, within 15 minutes is their highest power usage rate, because when you turn something on, the motors like generating enough electricity to just start up machines takes the most amount of power. Keeping it running doesn't cost anything. He was saying that whatever the company, if they pay demand rates, whatever the highest point of electricity usage for the year is their like demand charge. So like if they use 1 megawatt is their highest use for the year, then they pay that demand charge every month for how expensive reserving that 1 megawatt is based on the demand from other people in each month. So he was saying that people that pay demand charges like an insurance on their electricity. And so if the electricity company doesn't have that reserved for them because of things like this emergency where they had to give power to other people, then the electricity company has to pay them back all the demand charges for that year or that month, which can be a lot of money.
Yeah.
He was estimating that some big companies could pay like over $1 million a year in demand charges, like more than they pay for electricity. He was saying that any big customers that pay demand charges, a lot of times, if you're on the same grid as they are, you probably won't lose your power. Like people who are on the hospital grids, like you were saying the other day, they were safe because you're on the grid of the hospital. They're not shutting off the hospital.
You brought that up because you saw something on the internet.
I saw a great meme about
where
that.
someone said like, next time I'm buying a house, I'm gonna ask like, is this house on the same like power grid as a hospital?
Yeah.
And we kind of disagreed at first about what that meant. We both brought up good points, and it was either like they're not shutting off your power because you're sharing with a hospital, or they're siphoning power away from you to power their hospital. Right. Which I think either one, but I think.
Yeah,
I think how it's set up,
yeah.
If you're powering the hospital, you're powering whatever's on the grid, which can be houses or businesses or whatever. But I'm sure if you asked a realtor that question, they'd be like, no idea.
They'd be like, what?
That's a question for the electrical company.
And you'd be like, well, then I'm not buying this house. You better figure that shit out. What am I paying you for?
So last Friday, the Friday before, I keep saying last Friday, but the Friday before the winter storm. Normal day. And, we all saw in like the forecast, like it's going to snow and whatnot. And, we didn't really know what we were in for.
Because it was the Thursday before, it was below freezing temperatures and there was ice on the roads and stuff.
There was projected snow. Like there was projected snow, and I remember checking every so often, and they just kept pushing the time it was supposed to start. And then eventually it was just gone. Yeah.
But it did still like rain a little bit, or condensation came out, and there was ice on the roads, and there were some pretty bad wrecks in the Dallas area that day. Thursday was supposed to be my first day back at work after I quarantined from my coronavirus exposure that I never tested positive after being exposed. But Thursday was supposed to be my first day back at work, and I had to take it off because there was ice on the roads and so many people were getting in these horrible wrecks.
Yeah.
And then I went back Friday. And then I was out all last week because of Uri, the winter storm.
Yeah. I also didn't know they named winter storms.
I didn't know that either. I thought that was so
crazy.
weird. But I finally went back today, and I was so happy to see everyone.
So last Friday, I went to work, whatever, and then I got off work and I had to go to the store to get like my main goal was to get laundry detergent because we had been out of laundry detergent for a while.
Yeah.
And I kept forgetting to get laundry detergent.
Did you get it today?
I got it today because I forgot. I keep forgetting. I forgot like 4 times in a row. I went to the store and I was like, man, I guess it's like the first time I had ever been to the store at like 5:30 on a Friday afternoon.
Oh yeah, you were like, oh, it's really busy on
yeah,
Fridays.
I was like, I guess this is just when people do their shopping. I'm like, I guess
strange.
they don't want to do it on their weekends. Friday, maybe they got off a little early so they can. And I was like, whatever. And the store is just packed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, man, all right, whatever. And then I'm waiting in the self checkout line, and it's like halfway down an aisle because I refuse to go to like a checkout in person because I don't want to interact with somebody.
Yeah, you only go to those when I'm there.
Yeah. I only go to when you're there because and I'll only do it if we have like just like an absurd amount. Like if you took that through like self checkout, people would be like, dude, that's way too much.
To the point where there isn't enough space on the little self checkout thing.
The little scale where you have to put all the stuff. Yeah.
And so then you have to take it off, and then the person has to come authorize you to take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets painful.
So that's the only time with it. So I'm waiting in the self-checkout line. I'm like, man, this is crazy. Like, whatever. Finally check out when I'm like, man, this is wild. Just like so many people here. Mm-hmm. And then I go to get gas, and the gas station that's attached to the grocery store is just, people are just waiting in line and stuff. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I'm like, this is crazy. I was like, man, just Friday afternoons. Like, I can't.
You came home and
I can't do
me.
this. I came home and talked to you, and you were like, oh no, they're probably
prepping for the
snowstorm. So like, if they can't leave their house, they're gonna have like food to eat and stuff. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. I should go back and get food for us because we don't have a lot of food.
What did you get?
Huh?
What did you get if you forgot your laundry detergent? Did you just get candy?
No, I didn't just get candy. Don't make me sound like that.
There was a bunch of candy when you came home from the store. That's all I'm saying. There was like 2 types of M&Ms, some Twizzler.
I got that on my second go around.
Okay.
Because I was like, we're gonna be snowed in. Like, let me get
some chocolates.
So yeah, some cool, but
sweets.
But one thing I do when I personally grocery shop, I don't buy for a week or whatever. I'll buy for like 2 days or a day usually.
Yeah.
I'll be like, this is what I want to make tonight. This is what I get. And
it's so annoying.
Well, I like it better because I don't have to spend an hour or 2 at a grocery store grocery shopping. I'll walk in, grab my 4 things that I need to make dinner, and check out. I'm out in 15 minutes. And I just find that a lot more palatable than going for a long time and just spending a lot of time at the store.
And you know what? I appreciate it that you go very often because then you can get me more Topo Chico throughout the week.
You just run through Topo Chico. It's insane.
It's not insane. It's what I drink instead of water.
It is water. It's just insane.
So
like
good.
They only have it in 2-liter bottles.
They put something in it.
Minerals.
Babe, they put something addictive in it. I swear.
No, they don't.
I'm addicted.
No, they don't.
I'll drink it all day. If it was more convenient to take a 2-liter bottle to work, I would do it. I've done it a few times, but it's always like awkward.
It's awkward having a 2-liter at work.
Well, because I have to put it in the fridge, and I'll bring a cup with me, and so then I have to go get the 2-liter out of the fridge, which everyone is upset about because we don't have that much fridge space.
Really?
I mean, we have 2 fridges, but there's a lot of people. Yeah, so I'll get my 2-liter bottle, and then fill up my glass and go put it back in the fridge. It's just a lot of work.
You don't bring the cup to the fridge?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
It seems like easier. But I wanted to tell you the story about this asshole at the gas station.
Oh, go for it.
So I realized like there are way too many. Every pump is occupied at the gas station, so you have to wait behind somebody, as multiple other people are doing.
Yeah,
it's just like the pumps, and then like 1 or 2 lanes to go around. And so when I'm waiting behind someone, I'm not waiting directly behind them. Otherwise, I'd be in the way of cars that are trying to circle or go through or whatever. So I'm a little bit farther back, as is every other car that's waiting, so cars can pass by. So I'm sitting there waiting, and this guy pulls up makes direct eye contact with me.
Yeah.
Looks at the car that I'm waiting for, that's currently getting gas, looks back at me, and then pulls right in behind that car.
What a dick.
Yeah. And then blocks all the other people from getting gas. Or not getting gas,
like from
driving. He like stops the entire thing. And I'm like, this sucks. So stupid. And then he finally finishes, and I pull up. So, I'm sitting there waiting behind him before I pull up. And I'm like, whatever, I'll just pull out my phone because, he's going to fill up and it's going to take, 5 minutes or whatever.
5 minutes, yeah.
So I'm like, wait. But he pulls off pretty quickly. I'm like, oh, that's so weird. And so I pull up, I park, I get out. And you know how you can see what like the last person paid and how much gas they got?
Yeah.
He paid $2.49.
What the hell?
What was he doing at the gas station?
I don't know.
Oh, it made me even more upset. I'm like, you cut me off to pay $2.49?
1 gallon of gas.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all you could get.
To afford? Are you saying that's all he could afford? I disagree. He wasn't driving that type of car. I mean, maybe. But don't make me feel bad about hating this guy.
I mean, you should still hate him for what he did.
That always pisses me off. People driving bad. I mean, not even driving bad, just not being courteous.
People just
not following the unwritten social rules. You wait in line.
Right.
Like
it's not that hard.
With coronavirus, they have social distancing, and a lot of stores.
Oh my goodness, this is my pet peeve of the pandemic. There are stickers on the ground of where to stand. It is not that difficult. You stand on the sticker. You wait. How hard is it?
What the pandemic has made me really realize is that people stand too close to you regardless. You're standing 2 feet behind me. I'm like, that's way too close. What are you doing this close to me?
Anytime Justin and I are someplace, really anytime, that we're waiting in line somewhere, like earlier on in the pandemic when it was like really low % occupancy for businesses and you had to wait in line outside Home Depot, we would be standing on our little X that they spray paint on the floor, and these families would just be behind me like a foot away, and I'd be like, excuse me, your X is over there.
Like, back up, please.
At Micro Center on Black Friday.
Oh yeah.
We were standing in our little X, and there was like an older Karen type woman who was obviously she had already cut in front of some other people using the excuse that she was old because it was cold outside.
Big sucks.
To people behind us. And then she wasn't like explicitly asking to cut, but she kept creeping up and like standing way too close to us, like 2 feet away. And I just turned around eventually and I was like, ma'am, you are far too close to me. Please back away.
Like, stop that.
I hate people.
Even without a pandemic, just like, don't be close to me.
Right. I was like, is this necessary?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But this one time, what's amazing about these dots, that are 6 feet apart for social distancing, you stand here, is that it tells you exactly where the line is. So there should be no confusion about where the line is. Right. And we were at Home Depot. Home Depot's making another appearance. I think we're getting like light bulbs or something.
We go to Home Depot a lot.
We haven't been in a while.
I know.
Just too far away. I mean, it's not that far at all, but I'm just like, oh.
We haven't really left the house much recently.
Yeah. And we haven't had a reason to go, but we were getting like light bulbs or something. And, we go to the self-checkout, and the self-checkouts are full, so we're waiting on our little dot. And then we see like across,
across
the aisle, or a little,
there are people
over
standing
yonder.
In the middle of the aisle. They've made their own line.
Yeah. And
in like the aisle that they have out, it is all roped off, and there are dots every 6 feet that say stand here. And there's a sign that says, please wait here for the next available kiosk or whatever. And it's very obvious.
And at every store, at the self-checkout has like an attendant that can take care of issues or whatever.
Yeah.
And, I would think like during the pandemic, they would tell you where the line is.
Well, there were two. Like I was saying, the line is like very roped off and very organized and obvious that that's where the line is. There's signage. There's the dots. And then in the middle of the aisle across from where the self-checkout is, these people have created their own line.
Right.
And it like goes into the paint section. You know how Home Depot
Yeah.
has that like paint section where they have like the little U shape with all the different samples and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it like it serpentined into the paint section, and in the middle of the aisle, we looked at them and we said, "Is the line over there? We thought the line was here where it says there's the line."
To the
attendant.
Yeah.
And you say what she said.
And she said, "What did she?" I don't remember.
She was
exactly
like, she was like, "Oh, don't worry, I got 2 lines going."
Oh yeah, she was just like,
"What?"
She was just keeping track of who showed up in what order.
I was like, "Why don't you
in
tell
both
them
different lines
to go stand in the line, and then you don't have to monitor them?"
Yeah, and they're not going to stand in the middle of an aisle where people are walking.
Yes.
Being not socially
and being
distant.
too close to everyone, and where there aren't little dots to make sure that they're standing 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Why don't you just go tell them, go stand in the line? Stop standing in the middle of the aisle, you creeps. It happened again in Barnes & Noble when I was Christmas shopping.
What were we at Barnes & Noble for? Oh.
I got a few things.
Yeah. I just assumed you were getting them from me. I was like, you didn't get me anything from Barnes & Noble.
So selfish. I was in Barnes & Noble Christmas shopping and got some like board games, card games, some books for different people. And there was like a mob of people, like not even a line in the wrong place, just like a bunch of people grouped together. And I was like, I don't know what y'all are doing. So I went in the roped off area where there was a sign that says this is the line, and where there were dots on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And I was waiting at the first available dot. And then the cashier looked at me and said, "Next." And I was like, "Okay." And then the people from the mob, the loosely formed mob, were like, "Oh, is that the line?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, there's the sign here. And there's the dot. So I just thought this was the line. I couldn't tell that you were in line. I didn't know. I'm sorry." I was like, "You can go if you'd like." And they're like, "No, you just go." Like they were like annoyed with me. I was like, if anyone should be annoyed here,
it should be me.
It should be me.
Yeah.
Yeah, this couple was just like so annoying about it. I was like, I really don't care. Like, you were there first. I just didn't know you were in line.
I've said it before on this podcast and whatever, but I think that's my biggest pet peeve is when someone else is in the wrong, or someone else
try to make it seem like,
and they act annoyed with you, like you're in the wrong, and you're just like, no.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if they're like, oh shoot, I messed up. Let me lash out a little bit to make it seem like they're the bad guy, or if they truly believe, or if they truly just don't know what's going on in the world, and they're just going around with their eyes closed, living life, and somehow they haven't like died. Somehow they just haven't walked into oncoming traffic. Like, people amaze me. People are so resilient.
People are crazy. People are wild.
And people could just keep surviving.
Oh, yeah.
People always talk about evolutionary advantages, like, why are humans, like, why are Homo sapiens, like, the ruling whatever? It's like, is it their intelligence? I'm like, I'll tell you not. It is not. It is sheer dumb luck, because I have met so many Homo sapiens.
And a crow could beat them out in an IQ test.
Yeah. And I can tell you, there's nothing intelligent about their little species they got going on. They're walking around, not knowing what's going on, and somehow they just keep advancing in life.
They invented a language and writing. They invented writing, but then they won't read the shit that they write.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's batshit crazy.
Let's make this universal system that all the people in our area, all the people that we know, can learn and understand it, and we can communicate with each other. And then when we actually try to communicate, we won't read and we won't receive that communication.
Yeah.
Also, like, what a crazy thing that I can't put myself in the headspace of like not knowing something or not like understanding something and then not going to find out.
Yeah, just being like, it'll happen.
Like you're looking for the line at a Barnes and Nobles. You're just like, you know what? I'm going to stand here and the cashier will figure it out. Yep. Instead of going like, huh.
There's got to be a line somewhere. Right. Maybe I should look to my right and left and see where it is.
even before the pandemic, I'm a huge fan of signs in establishments, just because like
social anxiety.
Yeah, social anxiety. Sometimes like I'm somewhere new for the very first time, trying to do something for the very first time. I'm like, I have no idea how this works. Like, and if there are signs that guide me, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. But then sometimes there's not signs, and then I have to like ask somebody or something.
You just want like a guidebook for like anything that you're about to have to do, and like read about it before you get out of your car. Yeah, so that you don't look like a stranger.
When I want to do something, whatever, like for this channel, for whatever, I did a ton of research. I really like preparing for things. And when I can't prepare things and I just have to freestyle life and I have to go into a business and I'm trying to do something, I don't understand it and I have to ask for someone's help and they don't understand what I'm asking because it's like the most basic thing and I don't know enough to ask a better question. And it's like trying to explain to someone 2 + 2 = 4 and they don't get it.
They don't know what numbers are.
And then you finally figure out they don't know what a 2 is. And you're like, oh, of course you don't get it. You don't know the basic thing that I just assumed you knew.
Right.
And then that's how I feel.
I need a guidebook so that I can know all the basic things.
Yeah. This was years ago, I think. But like someone posted on Reddit, it's like no stupid questions or like too afraid to ask or something. One of those things where you can just like ask generic questions that like you're embarrassed to like having to ask.
No, that you've gotten that much through life.
Yeah. And someone had asked like, oh, hey, I have like social anxiety. Like, how do I order at Subway? Like what's the process like?
What?
Yeah, and like an actual person like responded and was like gave him like a very detailed how the interaction would go. And then like the guy like replied, I was like, I got my Subway. And I was like, that's exactly like who I would be. Like, I'm like, because like how does Subway work? Like,
yeah.
Why are you crossing your eyes?
I'm not.
You were just crossing your eyes.
I'm looking at this thing.
It's like multiple times. It was very distracting.
I'm looking at the what is this called?
The pop filter?
Yeah, the pop filter for the microscope. For the microphone. It has like if you get like closer, it has like a cool hexagonal shape going on. But then in some areas of the mesh where it comes together, then it curves. And I've just been staring at it for a few minutes.
You do me a favor. Could you like get your head back in the game?
Oh gosh, it's very distracting.
Because we're trying to record a podcast.
I've been recording a podcast.
Yeah, of course you've been recording a podcast because I hit record. You know, Subway.
But Subway now has a mobile app, and you can just bypass all that interaction. Because it is the most awkward shit.
I love all the mobile ordering apps. Oh my god! Honestly, I will 100% eat at a restaurant more often than other restaurants if it has like a mobile order thing.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm just like, just put in an order, and then you can just like walk in and be like, order for Justin. I have to say like 3 words.
And they're like,
and then
they just point. Order. They don't even talk to you.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's so much better because, like, I mean, I can go to a sit-down restaurant. Obviously, they give you a menu and, you know, whatever. But then sometimes it's like...
I also don't like the sit-down restaurant shit. It's just
what do you mean? Like, didn't you sit-down restaurants in general?
No, the interaction's just, like, too awkward because they, like, give you the menu and then immediately ask what you want. Like to drink or for appetizers, and you're like, you gave me the menu. Like, are you gonna watch me?
If you're gonna watch me read this thing,
right? And then they like give you some time, and they usually come back pretty quick for like drinks and appetizers. But then when they're giving you time to decide on your entree, I'm like, can you come back? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm not good with You know, like when you go to a restaurant and like everybody else has either been or just like figured out what they want before you.
Oh, everyone always figures out what they want before me.
And I'm just like, I don't really know.
I'm so indecisive.
So am I. And I'm just like, I'm just going to pick something. I usually narrow it down to like 3 choices or like 2 choices.
Yeah,
I'm like,
just randomly pick
I don't know what I want. And I'm such a basic bitch where I'm like half the time I'm at like whatever restaurant and they always have like a burger. I'm like, ooh, that sounds good.
If I can't decide, I'm going with the burger.
Yeah, right? And I'm just like, I shouldn't get the burger. Like, whatever.
I know. I always try not to, but like...
But I really never go to these restaurants, whatever restaurant, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, half the menu is like salad sandwiches,
And none of the sandwiches
soups,
sound good.
and then like 6 other entrees. I'm like, all right, those are the 6 I'm picking from because I'm not ordering a salad, sandwich, or soup. I've got 6 choices, and I'm like, none of them even that sound that good.
Right. If none of them sound good and there's a burger, I'm getting the burger.
Getting the burger, yeah.
It's just an easy choice.
It's an easy choice.
It's hard to be bad.
It's hard to be a bad burger.
Yeah.
I feel like the easiest way to fuck up a burger is to just throw a bunch of shit on it. Because you see that, like, that's such a...
There's like,
that's in the new, like, gastropub, whatever
it's like
trend.
Make craft burgers.
Craft burgers, and they'll just put, like, so much stuff on it. And I'm like,
yeah.
Cool.
I'm like, you just need cheese and bacon, like...
Yeah. That's my favorite burger is, cheese, bacon, mayonnaise.
Yeah.
Love it. You see the same thing with Bloody Marys? Have you seen all like the pictures where it's just like a Bloody Mary, and it's got like a chicken wing, a slider, a pickle, an egg, whatever, just all stuffed on skewers, like stuffed in the glass. I'm like,
the last time we had Bloody Marys, it was not very good. Mine was like really watery, I think.
Yours was different looking than mine was.
Like it was spicy, but it was also watery. Like
mine was delicious. Mine was fine.
Your dad's wasn't good either. I think you just had a good one.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she brought me the good one because I was hungover.
And it was your birthday. Well, it was your birthday celebration.
Yeah. Well, the waiter didn't know that. Waitress. Do you call them waitresses or waiters?
I'll say waitress, I guess. Or I usually say server.
You say server?
Yeah, I say server. I don't usually say waitress or waiter.
I usually say waitress or waiter, but the reason why I ask is like, wasn't there like a push or like a change that like actors and actresses now that you just call them actors?
I really don't know, but
or is that just like made up?
I usually just say servers for anybody working
in the service industry.
Not exactly. Not even anybody working in a restaurant because there's different jobs in restaurants. But most people I know that work as servers call themselves servers in restaurants.
Yeah,
so
I guess you're right. Yeah. What the hell's a hostess?
They literally just show you to your table and like wrap silverware. Yeah.
I'm like, that's like, is that just like,
it's like,
but is that like a waiter or waitresses, like, just like they come in that day and like the manager, like, we scheduled
like
you on host
person or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it's like a different position. Let's go back to Subway. How awkward is ordering at Subway? Even though you know how the situation's going to go, it's so crazy awkward, right?
Let me tell you.
You just walk up there and you're like, I want a foot long. And then you say the type of sandwich. And then at the end, I mean, that's how you order it, right? You're like, I want a foot long spicy Italian.
That's not how I order
Italian bread.
I say I want a foot long. I'll go walk in there and be like, I want a foot long on wheat. And they pull out the wheat and they cut it. And I say turkey. And they put turkey on it. I say American.
You've got it down to a science over here.
Well, yeah, I've been to Subway so many times.
But there's so many long pauses of silence.
Yeah, like, have you ever had like a bad, not like a bad Subway employee, but like just like a slow one? Not mentally, just like physically. Yeah, not like disabled or anything. I'm just like digging myself into a hole. Just, I mean, like, they're just moving slow.
Oh my
And so it's like
yeah.
foot long, whatever, and they grab the bread and they cut it, and you're just standing there for like 30 seconds, like, okay. Or like sometimes you're at the veggies part, and you're like, lettuce and onions.
And
they put lettuce and they look at you again.
They take a really long time doing the lettuce, and they're like trying to decide if it's too much or whatever. And then they like are finally done. And they're like, they look at you and they're like, anything else?
Yeah,
like,
like,
onions, please.
God. Did you ever? Okay, so my freshman year in college, did you ever go with me to the Subway? Oh my God! For some reason,
it was the most painful.
I went to college in a small town.
Yeah.
It's the only Subway I have ever seen. It was 24 hours.
24 hours, baby.
No drive-through, and after 10:30 p.m., it was buy one get one free footlongs.
Oh yeah.
What an insane sale at an insane time in an insane town. You came to visit me one weekends or whatever.
I visited you multiple times.
Yeah, but this happened on one of the weekends.
One weekend, yeah.
It was late.
It was time to take me to the 24-hour subway.
Yeah, we had been multiple times because it's like you're up late doing college stuff and you're like, oh, we're gonna go to the subway because it's like the only thing that's open.
And it's buy one get one free.
It's buy one get one free.
And but all your friends would get like you wouldn't use that to like get a cheaper meal. You would all get 2 footlongs.
Right.
For yourself.
Yeah, but you'd only pay for one.
It's way more food than you need to be eating.
Not really. Like you're young, active males. You eat a lot.
How's that working for you?
Now I'm fat. And I feel bad. And I have health problems. And I don't like the way I look. I have heartburn all the time. And it's probably because I eat too much. I've been working on it, though, and I've actually been doing pretty well.
You've made a lot of progress this year, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The snowstorm really fucked me up.
Yeah, couldn't go to the gym.
I didn't go to the gym today for a different physical issue I'm having, but whatever. We're not getting into that. I refuse to talk about that on the podcast. Anyway, we go to the 24-hour subway.
It's a thing.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm gonna bleep that out. It's gonna sound way worse than it actually is. So we go to the subway, and it's after 10:30 at night. I don't even know what time we went, but it's late. They're not doing a lot of business. There was one person there. That one person has got to be the slowest moving person I have ever seen.
Babe, that person was high out of her mind.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, 10 people walk in all together. All being loud as shit, just being the most obnoxious customers you could possibly be. And we're all ordering one by one, whatever. And God, we were in there for a long time.
But okay, to be fair, every person was getting 2 footlongs.
Right.
And every person was saying, I want 2 of this sandwich, and telling them exactly how to make it. For some reason, the person only made 1 at a time.
Yeah, that was like the biggest thing.
And then forgot everything that went on that sandwich. You would say, I want 2 exactly the same. And she'd be like, uh-huh. And you would say the bread, and then she'd only get out 1 loaf.
Yeah. And then she would do the meat and the cheese and the veggies and the sauces.
And like toast
wrap
it,
whatever. Up. And then she's like, what's your next one?
What was the other one?
And you would be like, exactly the same. And she's like, what was on it? I was like, you just made it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Where were you for all
that? Every single person.
Every single person. And then she's ringing you up, and it's just like.
She's like, what did you have again?
The slowest thing. I honestly wonder if she was just like trying to catch us in a lie. Like if we got bacon, we're like, oh, we didn't get bacon because we didn't want to pay the extra. She's like, I knew you got bacon.
Charge you double bacon.
Charge you for both footlongs.
Liars don't get discount.
Yeah. But also the sale that they did, the buy one, get one free after 10:30 p.m. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like an official Subway thing, I think. It was printed on printer paper and taped to the door. Like, that's all it was.
I mean, I don't think this was an official Subway.
You don't think it was an official Subway?
It's open 24 hours.
What do you mean it's
not?
You
don't think it's like a franchise owner gone rogue or something?
I thought you meant it wasn't like backed by Subway. I thought you meant like it was just like some dude opened a sub shop and named it Subway and had all the same colors.
He used to be a franchise owner, then he stopped paying the fees. Oh my gosh, I went to a Dairy Queen one time.
A Dairy Queen?
That was not a Dairy Queen anymore. It was like, because I mean, when you own a franchise, you have to pay like yearly fees and you have to upgrade like all the stuff whenever they're like, we want the look to be like this now. You have to pay for all of that. Like,
really?
Yeah. So this one franchise owner in Canton, Texas,
Canton,
another tiny town, out in East Texas, they got real tired of those fees, and so they were just like, "I'm not gonna be a Dairy Queen anymore." So they changed the name, like all the signage, but it's still like all of the same products that they're selling.
What?
It was so funny. Like they still have like Blizzard, but they call them something else. They don't sell them as Blizzards, you know. But like all the burgers have different names, but it's the same burgers. Like they still,
okay.
They do all the same stuff. Because I was like in there and I was like, man, this like feels like a Dairy Queen. They're like, oh, it used to be. I thought it was the funniest thing.
I don't know if it was the closest Dairy Queen. The closest Dairy Queen to where I lived growing up. It's no longer a Dairy Queen. But someone was murdered there.
Oh, God.
Do you remember that?
Took a really drastic turn. When was someone murdered there?
When we were in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense. Last time I remember going there was in 10th grade. After somebody was murdered, they closed or what?
No, I just think people stopped going because they're afraid of getting murdered.
How did the person get murdered? I don't remember
They were shot.
Just like in the Dairy Queen?
Yeah. Standard gun murder in a Dairy Queen.
God.
Stranger with a gun in the Dairy Queen.
Great topic, hun. Really
well, you were just talking about Dairy Queen. I was like, I've got a good Dairy Queen story.
It wasn't very good.
Someone was murdered at a Dairy Queen.
Wasn't very informative. You didn't
I don't
tell
know all
it in
the
a
details.
narrative way.
I don't know if I'm.
Then it's not a good story.
I don't know if an employee was murdered.
It's false advertising
By a customer, or the employee murdered a customer, or an employee murdered an employee, or a customer murdered a customer.
Wow, there's
so many options.
I
don't have that information.
My dad loves Jack in the Box, but I think it's just for the deals.
Your dad loves Jack in the Box.
He loves Jack in the Box.
You know what? Honestly,
He goes a lot. Like, he'll go for breakfast because they send a lot of coupons out.
Because he goes there so often. He's stuck in a vicious cycle.
He's like, they have a great deal on these breakfast sandwiches. It's like 2 for $3. So he'll go on the way to work. No, I really don't consider Wendy's to be a burger restaurant.
Really?
This is going to sound funny. I consider Wendy's
a salad restaurant
to be a chicken nugget restaurant.
What? There's no such thing as a chicken nugget restaurant.
All I get at Wendy's is spicy chicken nuggets.
I get a Baconator. Oh, man, when they had the pretzel buns. Oh. That was like, that's some food scientists up in there just whipping up the craziest concoctions.
Whipping up magic over there.
Yeah. I'm like, pretzel? I love soft pretzels. Soft pretzels and mustard. Speaking of soft pretzels, like Auntie Anne's and what is it now? There's another Wetzel's Pretzels.
Wetzel's Pretzels. Yes.
I think I had some Auntie Anne's when I was a kid.
Okay.
But like, I used to work in a mall.
My mom's going to text me about this.
That I'm saying auntie?
Yeah.
Like a normal person?
My mom and Justin have this debate over how to say aunt or aunt.
It's aunt.
Justin's very vehement that it's aunt. And my mother thinks he's pretentious.
Oh, okay. But
continue.
I used to work in a mall. All those little things like
I think in this specific case, yeah, sorry, I have to interrupt you. I think in this specific case, I think it is Auntie Anne's because it's like meant to sound like it goes together. When you say Auntie Anne's, it doesn't really flow.
Okay, anyway, so they have like the pretzel places, the cookie places, where they don't really sell meals, but they sell like snacks.
Yeah.
And I was always
walking around snacks.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. I was always amazed about how people would come to the mall to shop and they would have to have a snack in their hand while they're doing it. Like, what a weird thing to do. And I mean, I worked at Starbucks, and so we would basically do that.
Oh,
we're just giving them
I'm at the mall.
I gotta get a
walk around drink.
Yeah.
Do you know how inconvenient it is to shop for clothes when you're holding?
There's nowhere
Starbucks
to set anything
There's nowhere
down.
to put it, and if you do find a place to put it, you get condensation all over the place.
Yeah.
And then people are mad at you.
I'm surprised, clothing stores don't have, no food allowed. You can't bring your greasy-ass pretzel hands and touch all of our nice clothes. Stop that.
Well, this has been fun.
It has been. Got a little heated at some point.
Oh, yeah. We got very angry at people about halfway through.
Yeah, we really got into our pet peeves. And we're like, going back to the snowstorm. I don't want to say it was a week vacation because it kind of sucked. That's something I don't think we touched on.
No.
Just real quick, it was really bad because people were legitimately freezing to death in their own homes.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
A lot of people that lost power in mobile home parks. I mean, because a lot of mobile homes don't have very good insulation.
No, of course not.
Right. And so I think there was an 11-year-old boy who froze to death in his bed.
Yeah.
Just because he was cold.
This happens, and we knew people that were affected, and we had them come stay with us because we were less affected.
Mm-hmm.
And some people were like so affected that they were dying, and then you have like other states that like, oh, look at Texas now, like, ooh.
And, a big part about it is a lot of people from blue states up north were making fun of Texas, saying this is what you get for
being red
Republican.
But which sucks because the people that were dying were mobile homes,
disenfranchised people,
low
that
income,
are not.
that were probably voting blue. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this, and we hope you maybe learned something. Hopefully, enjoyed yourself. Hopefully, didn't not like it. I don't know what I was trying to say there because I said didn't, and I didn't want to use another negative.
No, hopefully, you maybe had some of the same pet peeves as us during the pandemic.
Maybe you're in Texas and you're like, oh, I remember that, or oh, I just went through that.
You like
that was
hearing
so shitty.
about things that you experienced. We're here for you. Well, thank you all for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, we'll see you in another one. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.